So guys, welcome to episode number 188 of the Ready for Anything podcast. So we're here for another client live hot seat that we do every single month. We never done one for the month of July, so we're a little bit late. So we're in August right now, which is absolutely fine. So today we're going to be joined by Donna Martin. Donna has been my client now for coming up on 3 years, which is absolutely mental. She's been through an incredible journey, physically, mentally, as a person. And we're going to just break all that down and talk about all that today to just kind of like celebrate the journey, talk about it, and then obviously hear a bit about Donna's story, like what kind of got her to where she is now, what she's overcame, what she's been dealt with, what she's been faced with, and so that you guys can kind of take that in your own journey as well. So let's get stuck into it. So Donna, introduce yourself. Let's hear a bit about you. Like, what's your story, Donna, so that the listeners, everyone can hear about you, get to know you. Like, I always ask everyone, imagine you're on my podcast, you are on my podcast now, so what's your story, Donna?
So I'm Donna. I'm a mum of two slightly older kids now. They're 12 and 15, which is frightening. Story, probably, I don't want to go too far back because we could be here all day. Verbal diarrhea. Little girl just didn't really believe in myself, to be quite honest. I think that's kind of ingrained in you from quite a young age. I talk about that quite a lot in all the stuff that I do. And went through life just kind of floating about and doing what people, the shoulds and what's kind of expected of you, and got into really toxic relationships. Found myself in a really emotionally abusive relationship, and actually the kind of shift in that was lockdown. Lockdown was an absolute blessing for me, to be quite honest. That obviously came from like having really low self-worth and really kind of a low self-belief, and like I said, lockdown was a massive turning point for me. It kind of gave me that time to break away from that relationship, and it forced a kind of stop, I feel like, and ever since I've just kind of feel like I went from strength to strength and just uncovering loads of things. I feel like you kind of go through life a bit like not really appreciating how much potential you have, and just kind of floating in this stagnancy, I suppose, and doing what everybody else is doing because it's the way it is, sort of a thing. So definitely in the last 4 years I have turned that on its head, for sure.
Yeah, you definitely have. And I think for a lot of people, including myself, like lockdown was a big turning point. It was almost like you could breathe. You were just like, man, right, I can actually just slow things down a wee bit, focus on the things, and it just allows you to see things, because I think for so many folk, and they'll be able to relate to this, and we'll dive into this a bit more, and you know that inside Ready for Anything, I'll say the term like a spinner, like someone that's just doing a lot. And what I see with a lot of people that have kind of been in a similar journey to yourself, Donna, that have experienced like a lot of like low self-worth, low confidence, is that you can become the king or queen of busy.
Yeah. And
it's almost like that's what you kind of do to kind of keep yourself in that point. And you can really see like a lot of traits and characteristics in a lot of people when they go through that point. And it's trying to break that cycle. It's hard because you never really take a moment to yourself. And I think a lot of that's to do with this is going quite deep, but it's like because you don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone with your own 100%. Thoughts. You don't want to be like you want to just, I need this, need to do that, and then you end up just doing a lot, but then not getting a huge outcome there. So obviously lockdown 2020, March 2020, you came into the program November 2021.
Yeah.
It was PLU at the time, so Project Level Up OG. At the time. Yeah, one of the OGs, man. So tell the audience, like, where were you when you kind of came into Ready for Anything? So you went through this journey. It's about a year and a half later after kind of like kickstarting things a lot more. Where were you? What was life like? What were you kind of struggling with? Yeah. Like to give everyone an idea.
So between that kind of March 2020, obviously it was lockdown, so we were all, like you say, we were stopped, the world kind of stopped. So it did give me, like you were saying about the kind of not wanting to be alone, that busyness was just a total distraction. It was like, keep doing, you feel like you're winning when you're busy, but really actually you're not, and that's been a massive realisation for me. But during that, obviously the world kind of stopped. I am a dance teacher, and I was just one-man band trying to do everything. And during lockdown, obviously that then forced me into using Zoom and doing lots of stuff on Zoom, and I then opened up like at doing workouts and stuff in the house with 1920 weights. They were ridiculous. And then I created a group and done it online with people, which gave me the accountability of doing it as well. So I came like quite far with that on my own. Like you say, the world stopped, so it gave you this time and space to really look into like life and what do you want it to look like, and what have I created so far, and what am I running away from, and all that sort of stuff. So I really delved really deeply into mental health and mindset, partly from the whole relationship, because I was wanting to find answers as to why people behave in the way they behaved, actually selfishly, like kind of towards me. I was wanting to understand why people are the way they are, sort of a thing. So I done loads of like open university courses. I done loads of like random courses I could find online, and then I ended up going into a residential care facility for young people. Through all that mental health learning stuff, and so that was just adding something else onto the pile. But it really did teach me a lot, to be quite honest. I mean, I'm not there anymore, thankfully, because again, there was a massive learning curve with that. And it has definitely turned and shaped me into what I'm doing right now. But when I joined PLU at the time, I had came like so far on my own, so it was no longer like a place of pain. It was initially, it was definitely a place of pain that I was wanting to transform myself, and it was a total two fingers up, like I'll show you kind of stuff, like that whole revenge thing. And then when I joined PLU at the time, it was like I've came so far, like now I need somebody else to kind of give me a bit of a rocket, a bit of a kick, and like find a new level of what is Donna, like what is the next version of Donna. So I definitely didn't come in this program from a place there was probably elements were still there, but I had came on like a massive journey already, and then this was like, right, I need to have another level, I need to have another layer, and I knew that I needed somebody else to be the person that kind of kept me accountable and kept me kind of on the straight and narrow, I suppose.
Yeah. So lockdown, to kind of get it straight, was like ground zero. That was like, cool, this is like the line in the sand. And then like a lot of folk, you do a lot of stuff on your own, you do a lot of self-learning, you try to piece a lot of things together. I was at a seminar last week and they spoke a lot about, and I was saying this on the call last night as well, about like when folk go, I've done a lot of work in myself. And I think that's great when you're doing a lot of self-learning. But the trouble with it is that you're getting a lot of information from different sources.
Yeah.
So you're going, pulling a bit of this and pulling a bit of that. Now that's fantastic, but you can make a bit of a Frankenstein. Because if you're doing like pulling stuff out, I'm doing a bit of learning from this is great for like my mental health, doing this, and I'm doing this in my training, and here I'm going to follow this program as well. Is these programs, like we've spoken about this seminar last week, are great when they're done on their own.
Yeah. But
when you start to mash loads of things together, what begins to happen is that they're not going to get the best out of them. And this is where a lot of folk get into, where they'll be doing maybe listening to podcasts, which is great. And it's almost like this sort of like sort of infancy stage of learning, where it's like you're consuming a lot of stuff. You may be doing investing in some things, paying things. A lot of it's maybe a lot of free resources and stuff that you're getting, but then it can end up being this sort of bit where it's actually like, right, I'm doing a lot right now, but maybe not really capitalizing on this. And this is where we get a lot of folk come into Ready for Anything now in that spot. And I always say it's like, you're doing good, but you're not like, you're nowhere near where you could be doing. And I know a lot of folk always, I could do better, but you know when you're capitalizing, you know when you're not capitalizing. That's the difference. And that's where a lot of folk are at, where everyone can always do better. So what was the biggest sort of, like, obviously can I give everyone a bit of an insight now? Like, so you obviously came into that point where you'd overcame a lot. There was still things that you struggled with. Like, fast forward the clock to now, literally nearly 3 years on. Like, what's been the biggest sort of changes? What's been the most notable points of your journey inside like being coached so far?
Actually, it wouldn't be what you would expect, I think. Like, so I think people expect like the physical transformation, like the big, like the hierarchies, the whatever. My biggest thing is my relationship with food, like without a shadow of a doubt, is definitely. I was, when I was younger, I probably should have said this at the first question, but when I was younger, I had a really, really warped relationship with food. Like, would binge and purge and like hide things under my pillow and stuff like that. And then would make myself sick. And so I had a really warped relationship with food, which stems from of like what I've seen and witnessed and stuff like that. But obviously we're not getting into that just now. But yeah, I had a really, really poor relationship with it. And even in the journey of the last 3 years, I would say there's been so many like realizations, and it's like never ending. I feel like we've just constantly, there's like something else and something else and something else. But I'm now at a place now with my relationship with food that it's not like a good or bad thing. It's not a pulling it away from myself or I'm rewarding myself. It's more like I need it in order for my vessel to be able to work. So like I would say that's a huge, before I had been guilty about eating something, or I would have been quite restrictive. Or when we first done that first photo shoot, mind I told you that I took the yolk out the eggs and stuff like that, but was still having a protein bar, like, do you know what I mean, silly things. So I would say it's took a lot of learning, and there's still light bulb moments happening, but for sure it's been the relationship with food's been the biggest.
Yeah.
And the mindset, but like,
yeah.
I would say.
No, it's massive, because it's a mindset shift that you're going through when it comes to this. And I think now it's like a lot of people, when it comes to what they're doing, one of the biggest ones I see, especially with like guys and girls that are in that position that you were in earlier on in life and how it came along, because there's still remnants of that, isn't there? There's still things that you're always working on. Is that like the biggest thing that I see that holds folk back, and for anyone that's listening to this, right, is that they downplay what it is, and they just say it's just calories, or it's just like, and it's like, it's important to understand thermodynamics. And I was actually discussing this in the Power Hour last night, but you think about how many different entities are there within nutrition alone. There's like obviously variables hormonally, there's variables like obviously like targets that you're trying to get hit, your relationship with it, your outlook on it, that it's such an intricate topic that it's like folk are just like, it's just my calories I need to change, and you're like, oh my god, like it's not just your calories, man. It's like it's a relationship, and that's it. You hit the nail on the head there. And I think one of the biggest things to realize is like nobody's cracked it.
Yeah,
nobody has. And I think there's this big misconception that there's some folk that have cracked it. There's some folk with a great relationship and great understanding, but they still have moments, and they still have beliefs within their own beliefs that they think are fantastic, but maybe aren't fantastic actually from a scientific way or performance or peak state. It's like, it's more about like, how do you perceive it? And like I said in the call last night, it's like, do you feel like fueled? Like, how do you feel within your body composition? Is it allowing you to do the things you want to do? And is it actually like, is it giving you good energy? And it's like, tick those boxes there. And then all you need to do is look at those different entities, and it's like, well, I feel good, it's fueling me, but you know what? I'm actually carrying about 20 pounds of fat. It's all right, cool. Let's focus on that then. And it's like, you just focus on like one thing, and then it's like, it's always something that you're always doing. It's like, folk are looking for this, right? When I get this prescribed to me, will that be it? And it's like, no, man, it's not like that's just, these are just like vehicles to allow you to facilitate those 4 things that I said there. And as soon as you get to that point, there'll be something else you need to change. And it was something when I was with a yoga instructor last year, and I was talking about like an injury, and it wasn't what she said, it was how she said it. And I was like, I've got this and my back's quite sore, and this is why I'm doing this. And she went, so do we all. But it was the way that she said it so candidly, as in like when someone talks about like, I have this thing with my food, or I have this thing, and then the person that receives that information then sometimes can actually, they're not worsening it, but they're almost like
having their own perception of what you're saying.
So then they'll add to them, right? Yeah, no, like do this then. It's like, no, wait a minute, you're not broken. Like that's the thing, that we have this idea that we're broken, or like we have something wrong with us, or we have, and it's like, nah, man, like everyone has these discrepancies in these things. It's like, you have to separate, right? The logic is like the things, the numbers, the data, but then we have to look at, right, the relationship with it. Like, where is that? These are 2 separate things, and folk are like flicking between both, thinking they're the same thing. And it's like, they're 2 different things. It's like, because then folk are like, I think I just need to do this.
Aye. And it's like superficial, isn't it? Like you're talking about like the calories and all that sort of stuff. Like, see, when you actually look into like, how does it actually make me feel? I think that's been a big one for me with the relationship with the food, and like that, having a protein bar instead of actually just having more eggs. Like the eggs is actually going to give me the nutrients that I need over a protein bar. It's not to say it's a bad thing to have a protein bar, but like that's been massive shifts in like what's actually going to give me the nutritional value that I need to be able to perform at my best.
100%. And it's so easy to be confused in it now as well, because you get
there's
caught
too
up
much shit out there. Like,
and I think when you're quite malleable and you're quite vulnerable as well, and you've got this like poor relationship, you're like, oh, you rabbit in the headlights, like looking, and it's like, and that's why it's important to have guidance. And some of the best advice that you get with nutrition that I've had and that I've gave to clients isn't, this is what you need to do. It's putting they ask a question, I'm like, your question is bigger than the answer here. And they're like, what do you mean? And then you break it down, and they're like, all right, I had someone ask me last week, like, and it was a great question. but like, I was able to actually dissect the way they were looking at it, because it's not the question they're asking, it's how they're looking at it needs to change. That's the thing that needs to change. And they asked about so I can't even remember what it was, but it was like, should I be doing this or this? And I was like, it's not really a case of should I be doing this or this, it's like, what is it? Like, I think it was about a night out or eating out. Like, when I eat out, should I be going for this? Or when I drink, should I be going for these calories? And I'm like, like,
again, it's superficial.
Yeah, it's like we're kind of missing the point here. It's like kind of diving a layer deeper. So that's the thing that answers it, because it's not just information you need like to shift your perception of it
and who you are.
Like your perspective of what you're trying to look at and stuff as well. Because I love when folk ask questions, but sometimes you're like, man, go and grab a seat, man, because we need to go and talk about this.
Like, I feel like that's like, you have to go through that. Like, you totally have. I know I've asked questions like that to you guys. Before,
and they're great questions.
And like, but you actually have to go through that to then become the person that you become. Do you know?
100%.
Like, you need to kind of go through the things that you're stupid, like, and you look back and you go, oh my God, like, I can't believe I asked you that. But like, I would never ask you that now, but probably 2 years ago I probably did.
But if you never asked that thing, you would never have that. You would never be able to get by that point. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to ask. Like, the cost of success is being unsuccessful. You need to keep being unsuccessful to be successful, whatever it is you're trying to do. And it's hard, man, because it's quite like it's not a very sexy answer to some folk when they're like, how long will it take to do this? And I'm like, how long's a piece of string, man? Like, it's like, we could achieve this superficially, but like, where that person's at, are they going to be ready to do that? Because some folk just aren't ready to do certain things. Some folk aren't ready to go through a dieting phase. They need to learn how to actually feel better. They need to stabilize their metabolism. They need to be lifting consistently. Then we can do that. But it's like folk are like try to run before they can walk, and it's not a very sexy answer to say to some folk, but it's like, that's what they need, man. Do you know what I mean? It's
and that's how you can have longevity as well. Like, you can actually put a post up about this the other day, but like, you can change your behaviour for X amount of weeks, but like, then what? Then you end up reverting back to whatever the behaviour was, because you've not actually shifted who you actually are. Yeah.
I'm also a firm believer you need to fall flat in your face loads. 100%. Like, you need to keep doing it and then going like, why am I doing that? Like, why have I done this the 5th time now, man? Like, and then you go, right, learn, and that's what you learn from it. So like, what was your, like, obviously coming in, you've been through this big change, you've done it, it's obviously quite a long time frame as well, isn't it? There's a lot that's been achieved in there. What's been the biggest thing that took you as a surprise of, like, when you came in here, like, there was probably like, you kind of like, right, PLU at the time, want to go for this change, I know I need some help pulling things together. Do you think you were going to be here this long?
No. I actually didn't even think I would have signed up on the call, but then you were like, you're doing it now or not? I was like, I just, okay. So I probably, like, it was totally aesthetic. It was totally aesthetic. What I was signing up for, like, to get my body to the next level. And the biggest kind of like, what the hell was like that it's not that. That's now everybody wants to look good, like, physically, but now it's not the number one. Like, it's not what's the most important. I want to make sure that I'm being the best version of myself as a whole, not just as a physical, like I said before, vessel. Like, I want to make sure that I'm being the best person, physically, mentally, spiritually. And that comes with in here, and also, like, I explore lots of different other spiritual practices and stuff like that as well. But
Donna loves Reiki.
I love it all. I love it all. So I think it's just been completely not what I signed up for. But in the loveliest way, like, in the best way.
So no, it's great, man, because I think you don't realise how much you need it until you do it. And I think that's like, you don't realise how much you need a coach until you get a coach, and you realise the benefits of it as well. So obviously we're talking there about how we feel, our outlook, our perspective, which is great, but let's take a synapse of, like, let's imagine like we're training, performance, body composition, October 2021. What's the differences now? If I was to be a fly in the wall, like, because you're training really well now, like, you messaged me this morning saying you love running now, so you're basically,
I did not say that.
Yeah, you love running. So like what, like, tell the audience, like, what sort of changes have you noticed there for where you were at to now, like, because you were like a Duracell bunny.
I was at 100%. So back then, obviously it was lockdown, so it was a wee bit like of a unrealistic, like, life at that point. I mean, I'm still busy, but it was unrealistic in the actual grand scheme of what life looked like, really. So from a performance standpoint, like I said, it was lockdown, so you were like training with, I mean, I need to show you a picture of these weights, they're hilarious. Like the weights that are like this thick, but it's only like a 1 kilogram.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was training with weights in the house, and now, like, I don't even know how much the maximum weight would have been on that. Maybe 10 kilograms, maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 at push.
Seen a lot
like literally
reps,
dumbbells,
tricep kickbacks,
like ridiculous, and bands and the booty bands, and all, just like anything you could kind of get your hands on and like train with. Whereas now, and I also, even for a period of time, I was probably kidding myself on my training, because I was like, yeah, I'm going hard, but like, what is hard? That hard wasn't as hard as what it is now, because I'm constantly learning and evolving. And now I send you guys videos and you guys can say, oh no, actually do this, tweak this and whatever. And it's really, really helped my performance in like actual lifting. Running, I actually cannot believe you have got me running, because I remember my first thing to you was like, I do not run. I am not a runner. Like one of my first, like, I think that first video, that was first Zoom. I was like, do not get me run. I'm not a runner.
You ran a pair of plimsolls though the first time you ran.
Like, literally 15-year-old trainers. Like, what the hell?
You may as well have ran in your hands.
I know. So so running's been a massive shift as well. Like I was always like, I'm not a runner, I can't run, like I can't whatever, and done that, and done high rocks twice. Second time probably shouldn't have done, but here we are. Learned a lot of lessons. I like, it was like rubber. But even the like in life in general, so like I was like, I remember you saying to me, it's like, what was the trumpet thing you said to me, remember? As a symphony somewhere, but here's this big trumpet in the background.
So it was actually something one of my former coaches said to me was, sometimes life is a bit like you've got this beautiful symphony in the background that's playing, that's like all the right things you need to be doing, but then everything else you're doing is like a big trumpet at the front drowning it out.
Yeah,
and
so
like
that was definitely me once.
Yeah, I described it as a car driving really fast.
I'd say that
like,
as well.
yeah, just like I'm trying to get folk to like go, right, this is the road you need to be on, this is the car you need to have, this is how we get it to drive fast, we level it up, then you're like going around that thing, when I was like, yours had no road, man, it was just on a dirt track.
I was like Lewis Hamilton on speed, like all over the place. So I worked in that residential place. I also ran my own dance school, but like totally by myself. I was so precious with that back then, because well, even before that, like I was so precious with my business, because I was like, this is mine, I need to be in control of it, because obviously back in years ago I was so out of control of so many other aspects of my life that I was like, this is mine, I can't let anybody touch it. And actually even like, and I done fitness classes, I actually am like, how, I actually don't even know, even that group that I was doing, I was doing a class every morning for this group, but obviously for myself. Like I'm actually like, I actually don't know how I've managed to do it. This is the
thing that a lot of folk do, and it's what I said to you, it's like, see, because you've got good energy, Donna, like obviously you can probably, if anyone's watching this, you can tell with Donna, like she's got good energy. This is how you're like, even when you're fatigued. So that you're one of these people that are quite high energy, quite happy, quite go-getting, but like what people don't understand that are like this, they don't understand their energy isn't just like, it's not that, man, it's like your aura, man, it's like your battery inside. It's like, and a lot of people's is like really, really, it's operating at like 20%, but because they've got this like good mentality, it's sometimes like, it's like this resilience to go beyond it, but they end up actually just being like an unstoppable force against a immovable object, and they're like, yeah, but I feel good, and I'm like, hey man, but you're like half deflated. You know what I mean? Like you're like 100%. Literally like you're no doing amazing here, and sometimes folk can be like, but I'm trying, and it's like, it's nobody's saying that you're not trying, but like there's working hard and there's working smart.
And I was,
you know what I mean? And,
not smart.
And it was just, and it's where a lot of folk get into, because you just, as I said, like you start going, do a bit of this, do a bit of that, do a bit of this, and before you know,
pleasing as well as like yes.
What I do with people like this now is like we're in this similar position when they're just doing a lot. Is I get them on a call and I go, right, so I start writing down how many hours they do per like each thing they do.
Can you imagine you done that for me?
I know, but that's what I do now. I done it with someone recently, and they were like, that's mental. And I went, I know, you need to change something. You need to, we can't keep doing this here. And they were like, I never thought of that. There's only 168 hours in a week. And then these tasks that you're doing begin to take from your energy as well. And it's hard because like when someone's in that position and they're trying to see progress and results physically with their nutrition, with their mindset, we try to improve the relationship with food, and then they're getting pulled pillar to post by their career. It's a hard conversation for me to have because I'm not financially advising anyone.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, something needs to change.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And if anyone's in that position that's like, that's there and they're going, very well, Christian, but like, I've got a family to feed, I've got a house. It's like, well, you need to make peace where you're at right now, but you need to come up with some kind of strategy in the future that needs to change, because like, what's the longevity on that?
Yeah.
Can you, and it's a question I'll ask folk, I'm like, it's great now, but how long can you keep doing this?
Yeah.
And
it's an age thing as well. I think you start recognising that by age as well. And I think when you highlighted my energy, I was always like, everyone's fine, like everyone's great. But actually now I can recognise, now I can't believe that I can actually recognise that actually my energy is a bit low here today. Whereas before I'd have been like, keep on going, everyone's fine. Like not painting a face, because it's natural for me to be quite high energy. But now I can recognise when I'm actually, I'm about to burn out here. I need something else to change. So there's been loads of shifts here. I've got loads of my coaches are in, everything's delegated with, not everything, but a lot of things are delegated in school. I've pulled all my fitness classes. I've got one, but I've already said I'm going to leave that one, so you'll be proud of me. And that the job that I was in, that was shift work as well. Like, I mean, even like, how did I train with that? It's like 5 hours sleep, so that's gone. So yeah, now life is like, I'm still busy. Like, I'm not going to pretend that I'm not, but it's like chalk and cheese. Quality's
better.
Oh my god, it's chalk and cheese. And then I'm noticing, so like the reason I'm giving up classes isn't because I don't like them, but it's like I actually recognise they don't serve me. So like last week I'd said to you my knee was sore after I'd done a spin class. Well, I can't do a spin because it's affecting my running. So then the following day my run was like hindered because my knee was sore. So I've totally recognised that actually no, that's not benefiting me, it's not serving me. It's sad that I'm going to give up the class that I've had for a long time, but actually I need to serve myself first.
And this is the shift that you're going through now. Like, although you have went from that someone that exercised to trained, there was still remnants of that there, because you start to really value the stimulus that you're chasing. And this is the big thing now. It's like, if you've got big goals, big ambitions, the difference between taking part and competing.
Yeah.
If you want to actually really be better within yourself and actually compete for your age group, or actually go, right, you know what, I want to get like a top 10 finish for this, or I actually want to get like really, really pushed to new levels. I want to literally really smash my PB. You can get to this point of being good, but then like, see if you're doing loads of other things that are like draining your batteries, they're not really directed towards what you're going to do, they're going to start to take away. So I said it in the call last night, but there's what you like and there's what's a necessity. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's trying to differentiate that. And if you want to take things more seriously, you need to sometimes like let go of some things. And we've had the conversation with folk that have even played sports that you can tell they're not that passionate about, but they've got other goals and ambitions. And I'll be like, look, I'm not telling you need to stop, but like, this is like a big chunk of your time and energy. Like, what are you doing with this? Like, do you really want this? And other people that are doing it, you need to get to this point where you start to, it's not just the energy and the food and the sleep. It's like, how is this, what's the equal and opposite reaction that this is happening on my recovery? Like, how is
what's
this?
The cost?
What's the cost? Like, how is this actually? And you need to look at things a little bit more rather than superficially, like a little bit deeper as well. So it's a big shift, and you really see like you're like coming up in the near future, especially with goals and the way you're training now as well, Donna. You watch everything really, again, catapult to the next point, but sometimes you go, why didn't I just do this sooner? It's like, because you didn't understand. You need to go through it. You need to go through these points.
You don't know that whole thing.
Yeah, you need to, and it's like you don't realise that when someone's sitting, like there'll be things that I said 2 years ago that you'll go, I really understand that now. Like, I really can grasp what Christian was saying, but because I've had that conversation with a lot of folk, where they'll go, I know what you mean now, or they'll go, you said this to me, like.
I mean, I don't know if I'll remember, but
yeah. But like, I had someone recently that was like, you knew this before I even knew it, and I was like, yeah, like I knew where you're at, and it's mad. It really, really is. And I think that's why it's so good to have a coach there, because it can really like, you can almost remove that guesswork for you. Sometimes the guesswork gets removed, but you go, nah, no ready.
It's the perception though as well, I think. So like, sometimes you'll answer your own, like I'm a verbal diarrhea, as we know, like I send long voice notes.
You and Ross.
But I think we were in a competition. But
is there something going on here that I don't know about?
I feel like we should compete with us. No,
You're both doing high rocks there. You talk the full way through.
I know, can you imagine? Well, wait a minute, we're just having a chat. So like I send verbal diarrhea messages all the time, but like almost I either don't make any sense sometimes, or sometimes I answer my own stuff by myself before you even respond to me. But also there's an element of when you are, and because when you're emotionally connected to something, it's really hard to see like the the other side. You're so tunnel vision sometimes, so it's good to have you guys that are there to be like, you don't give me the answer, but yet ask me a question that's going to make me shift my perception and how I'm seeing something, which is really good. Like if you gave me the answer, I'd tell you where to go because I don't like getting told what to do. So like, but the fact that you but the fact that you can just make me see it and get the answers by myself, if that makes sense, it's really helpful.
Yeah, no, 100%. How you've obviously been there since like we had Josh in, and then obviously the shift over to Ready for Anything. How have you found since like the female dynamic kind of having Ailey now, Ailey coming in as head of athletic performance? And
yeah, no, it's good having Ailey. She's a absolute fierce woman with regards to training, but she's good because from a female perspective, like hormonally and stuff like that, like you probably didn't, I mean you knew, but you didn't know if you know what I mean. So it's nice. I actually feel like I'm so open with you and Josh anyway, like I'm a bit of an open book, but having that like female element to it is like another layer of actually they get all of it rather than it just being like, because obviously you only know so much, you don't feel the feels of the feel. Like remember I said we had that chat about bloating, you were like no you don't, and I was like yes dude raging, like stuff like that, those silly things like that, but it's like a female maybe understands that a bit more. So I feel like Ailey's like a wee kind of a nurturer a wee bit, because that's naturally
and
for a
female
female
at the same time,
and a demon, and she's a bit of like an angel devil, and then but you're very like it's black and white, there's no grey. Whereas she's maybe like can soften things a wee bit.
I'm soft as well, man.
No, you can be, you can be. But I know it's nice having that wee, it's like just another element, I feel like.
How have you found like obviously like the role of like, or like how I delivered coaching with training, like from a training standpoint is totally leveled up now. How have you found 100%. That with like the change there?
Yeah, the training, I feel like my trainings went through the roof recently. And that's like this, it's like obviously it's a constant evolution, but my training's definitely got stronger, because I suppose it's like similar to when I was talking about with the dance school, when I was doing everything. It's so hard to be amazing at everything when you're doing everything. So you having Ailey and even Josh as well, when he was here, it was like it makes everything stronger, because then you're not then pulled in so many directions that you can't actually fulfill it all fully. Not that you did, like nobody would have known that you weren't, but no. But you would probably would have known. And now that they are there, you can now you're like, oh, actually, I'm getting more out of this. And even like Ailey will be specific about actual training, and you can be more the other guy that talks about all the other stuff, sort of a thing. So it's definitely better and clear. Probably there's an element of more clarity as well, because I know when she's answering me about that specific thing that I've put a video in for or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
I think that the blueprint that we've created now, we're like, and we've got Angelica in the background that's looking at everything and then highlighting all the areas, so like nothing gets missed. Like nothing, we've made it like that, and then the phases and what folk are going through, there's just such a clear expectation now of like, right, this is where someone's at, this is what they're doing. And it's just years of doing this all compounding together. So I'm glad that, because you've seen the shift, full evolution of it. Like it's totally different. Like it's just natural in it, things grow. So what kind of impact is the RFA community had on you? Like, cause you're a big player in big player in the RFA community.
I think it's like anything into it. Like naturally as humans, we want to be in a tribe. Like you want to have that kind of tribe mentality and that tribe support and guidance and stuff like that. So I definitely think having the community there, I've like connected with a lot of people. People that I've actually probably never met, actually physically, and also actually have met at all the different events. But and we get like that when you see them, you see their wee heads, and then you're like, oh my god, how are you so tall or whatever. But it's massive because once upon a time I'd have probably said there would have been things that triggered me with people when people are like sharing their wins, and it would have been from a jealous point, probably like a bit of a like, oh, I'd never be able to do that kind of thing. Whereas now it's like from a total inspired, like I get so inspired by people and what they're doing, and I actually now makes me feel more empowered to be like, I actually can do that. And also equally in the other side of it, when we're talking about like in our power hours and stuff like that, and we're talking about like what you're struggling with or whatever, it's like that realization and that kind of understanding that actually everybody has the same stuff that goes on and everybody goes through the same points, and when somebody's up, somebody else is down, and then like each person can help each other out of that sort of a thing. I've connected with a lot of them and went into their groups and done like workshops and webinar things for them and stuff like that, which has been really lovely. Some of them have been really powerful as well. And it's just like I wouldn't ever feel uncomfortable like sharing something, or now that first time you do that live and it's like, whereas like it wouldn't be like that now, because you just know that it's like it's a support network. It's like almost like that wee safety net that I say safety net, probably that's the wrong word, but like people are there to support you, people are there to cheer you on, people are there to give you advice or give you guidance or whatever. And it could be something so ridiculous, but it's so, you know, that you've got that backup kind of thing. Like I would say you and Ailey are my total biggest cheerleaders, but then, you know, you've got a whole bunch of other cheerleaders that are just there to, like, if you need them, they're there sort of a thing. So it's really powerful. Yeah,
it is. I heard this thing a while ago, and it was a mindset coach when I was in this mentorship years ago, and she was basically, her name is Kylie, and I can't remember her surname, she's Australian, and she was basically talking about the feeling of being part of something and why it's so important to actually have that like distinguishing thing that like, because it's like an element of pride, isn't it, when you tell someone, like, because you won't just say like, I'll coach with Christian, you'll be like, oh, I'm part of Ready for Anything, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it's when you're part of something, it really is a big, when you're really at that point where you maybe been flying solo, doing the thing, doing the do, and then you step into actually being surrounded and immersed in a process, because there's people you know directly, then there's people you know indirectly, and it might have been shared through my socials, Ailey's socials, you've seen them in the Facebook community, and you're kind of just peering and watching each other, and maybe there's a bit of secret competition going on and stuff as well, and maybe there's a bit of admiration there and stuff as well. Maybe there's a bit of volatility sometimes, like you said, and like, oh man, like they've shined a light, and this is the point of being in an immersive process. And what that Kylie said is like, there's no better feeling when you're at a gig and there's like music playing and everyone's singing in the audience and they're singing together. That's like the
unison.
Yeah, it's unison, right? And that's the perfect example of like being part of something. And even when you're not like talking to other people, there's this like indirect part of it as well that you're like, yeah, I'm part of that. Yeah. And like that's, I always say to folk that we're not accountability coaches. And we're going to give you accountability, obviously, but like, I'm not going to go like that. Why have you not done that? I'll go, well, you didn't do that. That's why you've not got the thing. But like, the accountability that like I'll be saying to folk is that you're coming in, you're committing to something, a process, a point. Yeah, we're going to lift you up when you're struggling. We're going to give you insight. But like, what's going to give you accountability is being part of something. Yeah. That's the thing that's going to give you accountability. Like, if you're at a point where it's like, you need someone to shout at you or follow you up, it's not a priority. Right? It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? And sometimes you need to give someone a wee bit up the arse and bring them back down to earth, right? Fair enough. But like, if you genuinely believe that you need someone to be screaming down the back of your neck or telling you to do something, like, you're not going to fucking do it. Like, it's not your priority. Like, you need to make it a priority. And then when you immerse yourself in something like this, it's going to make you go, wait a minute, this is like putting my results on steroids, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is propelling me forward because I need this. I need these people around me.
It's that whole thing where my nana used to always say, if you fly with the crows, you die with the crows. Yeah. It's a pure Glaswegian saying. But equally, like, it's like if you fly with eagles, you would soar with eagles sort of a thing. So it's that whole, like, if you are who the 5 people you surround yourself with, and I know they're not physically like in my presence, but they're still there. Like, it's still that that the group's there, and you know that, like, it just pulls you up. It just makes you be like, actually, I can do better, and I'm good enough, or I'm whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, but it's been, it's massive. It's huge with regards to the community.
There was a really interesting point you said. I know that I mentioned it before, and it was about like, sometimes it would trigger you, right? And this is a lot. I've experienced that, man. Like, I was talking about it recently, like, even when I was talking to someone about it, where they're coming on the next retreat we're running. I've put this right in front of my face. Can you see me? And basically, they were just basically saying that, they're feeling a bit nervous, like, going to be going there, we're spending some time with some folk. And I was like, man, like, everyone has these, it's good. Like, loads of folk in the last one we ran, like, seeing a lot of change, man, like, a lot of radical change in their life. It was great. But I was like, recently, like, when I was a bit, like, run down, I felt there was a blanket of fatigue over me. And it was make me feel volatile, seeing all the folk that I know that are a similar level to me, like my friends. And I was like, should I mute them? I had this wee conversation in my head, and I went, no,
Aye, because then you're just letting it take over.
And I was like,
giving it power.
nah, man, I need to talk about this. I spoke to Ailey about it, and then I was like, it's just you're getting in your own way a wee bit here. And what would you say to someone that's at that point, that's experiencing a lot of like dark energy from like you were saying, a bit triggered by seeing all the people winning? What would you say to someone?
I would say you need to do some inner work, because I think that stems from some sort of insecurity somewhere that you need to figure out why. Like, I think people can just, like you said, the whole thing where like they put something on top of it, or a goal or whatever, and they can reach it, but it's not actually what they want, or what they actually, they're just doing it because somebody else is doing it or whatever. If you're triggered or something's, like you said, a dark energy, then there's a reason for it. Like, it's shining a light on you. So go do some, like I've done, and we've spoken about it before. Like, go to therapy. I love all the Reiki stuff. I love loads of different spiritual practices. I've done ridiculous mental things that are just so like out there, but it's all for a deeper meaning, to understand like lots of different things, to like peel back the layers. It's like an onion, isn't it? Like your whole, however many years you've lived your life, like everything's been patterned and everything's been kind of a shaped you to who you are. And sometimes people just, and I was the same, like you just walk through life with this is what you should do, inverted commas sort of thing. This is what life should look like, and this is what, you go to school, you do this, you do this, you do this, and this is like a laid out plan for you sort of a thing. But actually, when you start to like shine light on things, and you start to open up your eyes to things, and you start to question why am I triggered by that? Why am I looking into that? Why am I overthinking that? Why am I whatever? Then you start to realize actually who you are at your core, rather than it just being like who you've been told to be. And so my advice for anybody that's feeling triggered, or feels like there's a bit of a dark energy, or feels like they're doing something because for not even something that they actually want to do, like in their own self, I would say like ask yourself questions. Why are you feeling triggered? What is it that's coming up? What, even like, I'm a huge believer in breath work and meditation and all that sort of stuff. Like the general population are so fast paced, and you're always busy and always looking what's next and whatever. Actually, see if you just stop and just sit with whatever is coming up. Suppressing it's not going to help. Suppressing it's going to manifest in some other way. So like sitting with it, figuring out why are you triggered by that? Why does that person specifically make you feel? I say make you feel because nobody makes you feel. You're choosing to feel that way. Yeah. So yeah, I would say normally there's some underlying thing that you need to address.
And we wouldn't really. I would obviously unpack it more like that as well. If someone was saying it, but like I just remember when I started coaching and doing more of the community dynamic, and I'd get it a lot now. Now I'd be like, right, cool, but like you need to ask yourself why. Like why is that happening right now? And for me, I think it always comes back. I value certain things so much, and I feel like when they're being compromised, I don't feel like myself. Yeah. I mean, that's why I know I sit that way as well. But I think now, like, it's so easy now to see, looking in Instagram, like people are just so fit now. Like, see, like when I done a fitness test recently, just done at the start of last week, and I was like, I smoked what I done when I was in the Air Force. I wasn't even like obviously I was specifically trained for it, but like I mean, like knocked it out of the park. And I remember being like, that was really hard. When I done that, obviously I'm fitter now, but like if someone done the time that I'd have done that, they'd be like, man, that guy's like elite fit. And it's like the standard of like what you're capable of doing is becoming so high. And
equally though, not everybody's most of the population.
But this is what I'm saying. Then that's overwhelming. Yeah. Like folks see that. Yeah. But like you need to remember that your algorithm is only going to show you the folk that like that you're going to see.
Course, yeah.
Like you go into the algorithm and you go like that. They've got a six pack. They've got a six pack. How many folk do you know with a six pack? Yeah. Do you know like literally list how many folk you know with a six pack like in your like direct life. Yeah. And it's just understanding. That's what I was saying. Like I know that not many folk are that fit, and it's like, but
it's telling you a story.
It's telling you a story. So then you're being bombarded by it. So when you're not used to seeing higher functioning people and doing things, it's like it can be received the wrong way. Yeah. It can trigger you. Do you know what I mean? It can make you go, oh, like
that's too far. It's so far advanced for who you actually are in that moment.
Yeah.
And recognising it takes time.
Yeah, it takes time, man. And everyone's capable of doing that. But then this belief and mindset is the thing that's keeping them the same. This, like, see the way they speak to themselves. So It's a process, man. Do you know what I mean? You need
the whole highlight, we talk about that all the time, don't we? Like a highlight reel, you're only seeing what people want you to see.
No, I might do the burnout reel.
Do that.
Just
like that would be so powerful.
Sharing folks like struggles. Every week I go into our turbo chats with me, Ailey, and whoever it is that we're working with, and I'll say that to folk, and I'll tell folk about other people's, like, not directly maybe name them, but I'll sometimes say I'm like, this happened here, and I think a lot of folk have just got this idea and that like no one else is going through it, and it's like, do you know what, like you need to be able to read between the lines with it. I was saying it last night, like I framed the call around like what hard feels like, because I think folk have forgot what hard feels like, like because they think, oh, it shouldn't be this hard, and it's like, no, it should be. Like it really
that's
is.
how you get.
That's how you get that. It's hard. Like it's everything's so glamorized now. I'm not trying to like undersell what you're doing here, but like, why should it be easy? Like why should changing your body, having a level of health, a level of performance that far exceeds your own expectations, and having a mindset and attitude that's going to give you freedom in so many other parts of your life, why should that be easy? Like, because like otherwise, if everyone had that and everyone knew how to unlock that, then no one would have any issues with their career. No one had to have any issues with their relationships. Like everyone would, no one would have any, like, if that was the case, and it's like the things that you're working on is like the keys to so many other parts of your life. And I don't think folk, I used to hear about like investing in yourself, and I'd be like, is that like S&P 500 and I need to do is that investment? And it's like, you need to turn yourself into an asset, so that you are a higher functioning version of yourself that's more resilient, that's more robust, that can deal with problems, that doesn't let something pull them down. Do you know what I mean? And that's what like coming into like so ready for anything, like leveling up your body, your mindset, your lifestyle, that's what it's doing. If folk don't realise that. They don't realise that's what it is. It's doing. It's like it's giving you these skills that like you deal with, that you think's normal, because what is normal? Like normal is whatever you perceive as normal. So like someone like could be going like, I got a night out every single weekend, and it's like, what is that? And all like that. Oh, I got a rave, man, and then go out for 72 hours and don't sleep and take 10 eckies. That's normal. And it's like you say something else, well, sure, your night out, and they're like, get a bottle of wine and go to Nando's. Nando's a bottle of wine. Worst night out ever. I don't know why I said that. But it's like we have these ideas of normal, but then we don't even realise, and then we make it so surface level, like I said, I just need to do this, I just need to do that. And it's like, no, you don't.
I think as well, like you come in and you think it's like my thing was coming in aesthetically, but actually when you raise the standards on your own self, and you kind of shine the light on your own kind of things that aren't actually all that great, but you just kind of went along with it, then actually that levels up your life. That then the ripple effect of that's huge. So the ripple effect on like my relationship with my kids, actually even them seeing me living this higher standard of life, hearing you swear all the time. Mila's raging with you every time. She's like every time she's like, our wee eyes go. They see me like they see a higher, more evolved version. Like even my dance school is thriving off the back. Like, because a couple of years ago I was shutting that was getting closed, and it only took me being like, no, actually I need to go all in here to actually make this work, and make it work that I am not the guy who's just doing everything. I'm actually need to make this make sense. Do you know what I mean? And like all my relationships, I would say, but even my life in general, like I've raised the standard of myself, that's then raised the standard of literally everything I do, everything I touch. Like I wouldn't settle, like once upon a time I was 100% hands up, I was a total settler. I just settled for whatever. Whereas now it's like, actually no, my standards are so high in so many aspects that I'm like, I wouldn't even dream of not, if that makes sense. That being said though, like there is elements of time where I do things that are like I'm not like so rigid on things that I can't like be malleable, but like just in general my standard of living is so much higher that like it just has a ripple effect on so many other aspects of my life, which is mad. It's crazy, like it's totally crazy.
Turn yourself into an asset.
But it's took 3 years.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? It's not, wasn't a 6 week thing. Like,
and that, I think that's the difference between someone being like following a plan and someone being coached. It's the big difference between them. Do you know what I mean? Someone following a plan, and that's fine, but you need to differentiate like the term like coach. It's like Ailey was talking to someone at the weekend, and they basically were like, oh, what is it you do? Oh, she's like, me and my partner have an online business. She's like, is that your only job?
Yeah.
And she did that. She wasn't anything wrong with her saying
No,
that.
absolutely.
But like, it's like, no, that's a
People don't get it.
don't get it,
Yeah.
man. It's
They're
like,
the same with the dance teaching. It's like, is that just a wee dance teacher, just a wee
Yeah.
dance school? Like, you're like, oh, you have no idea.
I know.
Like when you run a business in any capacity,
Yeah.
like it's not.
So like people's understanding of the thing that it is that they're doing is the thing that ends up actually either allowing them to achieve a lot or allowing them to not do it. Do you know what I mean? Because it either keeps you the same and doing it, but mad beliefs are everything, aren't they, man?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It shifts so much so as well. Like they do shift
I know.
and grow, and like you've been given those, effectively you've been given your belief system like by whoever your caregivers were or whoever your whatever society you're living in or whatever. And I think it takes like a certain type of, maybe that's not fair, but like you need to be open to be like, actually there's more to life, there's more to me, there's more to whatever, because otherwise you stay in this box that's just floating about and you don't ever achieve all these things. And there's that whole thing like lying in your deathbed, like would you want to lie there and be like, I wish I'd done this, I wish I'd just believed in myself a bit more to do whatever. But also like I always think with beliefs and or doing big things, big scary things, people think it's confidence that comes first, but actually you just need courage to step into it, and the confidence is the thing that comes off the back of that. You don't have, like most of the time you don't have the confidence first.
Confidence is earned, isn't it?
100%.
It's mad how much of you don't just check in with yourself sometimes, and because you can become so caught up in the wee things and the minutiae of like all the little things that you're doing, and you actually just go, nah man, like my life's totally different. Even like right now, talking about where your life was at, it changes the trajectory of everything, doesn't it? And you've got a choice to be better every single day, every single breath you can be better, do you know what I mean? And you're just constantly making decisions that are going to make you better or worse, do you know what I mean? I could be driving home after this and I could see my phone going and I could pick it up and look at the notifications, or I can leave it down there. Do you know what I mean? That's a decision. It's like it's all the time you're met with decisions. Like I could speed or not speed, I could overtake someone, I could try. There's just constant decisions we're making, and it's just you're constantly doing them. And I think that's the thing as well. Like a lot of folk think when they do it, it's like the blueprint that they follow. But the big thing that I see is like that holds a lot of people back in coaching is the perception of what it is. So then they come in and they'll get like, they're talking, so they're like, right, this guy, this girl, seeing all these folk, these results, right? This is great what they're doing here. But then they're like monkey brain. He's like going like, 12 weeks, mate. You need to.
This is a timeline.
This is a timeline, man. You need to get right. Cool. Right, you hit your macros, or you not hit them. You're a failure. And it's like they've got this like, even though they're there doing this thing and they're trying to change, they don't know what they're actually trying to change. But this like perception of what they think they're trying to change ends up actually being the thing that holds them back. It's mad. Like, and I said this recently as well. Is like some people need to be coached on how to be coached to then actually get the progress they want to make. But they don't know that. Like it's mad because
you know it's funny. I was thinking this in the way here, because I was 100% somebody that could not be coached years ago, and I've always been coached. I've always danced and stuff like that. But I was thinking this in the way here that I was in Team Scotland back in 2006, and see when I think about that person who I was then to who I am now. Like I used to, and it was always came back to self-belief and lack of self-belief and lack of self-worth and stuff like that. But I was in Team Scotland, cheerleading team, like throwing people about and all that. But, and I'm sure I've said this to you before, I've always had ailments and stuff like that, injuries and whatever. I've got hypermobility, so it always like hindered a lot of things. But obviously I wasn't really trained in the correct way, because back then people didn't really know what that was and how to like strengthen things in order to not have issues and injuries and stuff like that. But back then I would like get a knee injury or whatever, and I would actually almost over exaggerate it. Now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I totally over exaggerated it. But at the time I didn't think I was over exaggerating it. But it was like from a place of I'm not good enough and a fear of like that whole failure thing. So like I then became like probably a bit uncoachable because I was just like so rigid and like I can't do this. Like whereas. And it's funny because when I teach kids, like I see that all the time, and it's so frustrating. It's when you see the potential in something, you're like, come on, like just believe in yourself, sort of thing. But obviously I've done a lot of work in that, and I coach. That's a part of what I do is like coaching with the mindset and stuff like that. But it's funny how like just from a personal perspective, going from that, I think I was like 21 or something like that at the time. Like and however many years that is ago is now. But like it's mad how back then I was like so rigid and like I can't do this. Like I'm not good. Like basically I'm not good enough. Never said that, but now I'm like, tell me. Like, and I was asking questions that are. I go like you're probably a little bit, but I constantly want to know more so that I can be better and be more coached and learn more and develop more and then even exploring other avenues that would once upon a time I would have been uncomfortable to step into a new environment with new people I didn't know, and now it's like give me more, like soaking up more, like almost like you're back as like a child now, like a child's like a sponge soaks all the stuff up. It's almost like you're going full circle and you're back to being like, tell me more, like I want to know more.
It's finding your higher purpose, isn't it? You start to like kind of really like, whoa, this is like there's so much more to gain here. And what you said there, it's quite an aggressive when you hear it, but it's victim and victorhood. Totally, that's what it is, and it's like, and that comes from like you putting a guard up. It can come in different shapes and forms. It can be aggressive. It can be passive aggressive. It's just a defense, so 100%. That because you are so scared of actually like, what if there's so much low self-worth there that like, what if I can't do this? That can either come across in mad lies, like it's insane mad lies, like justification behind why, or it can come out back aggressive and lashing out at the person that's, you're so unaware of your feelings that like you can actually like that person's making me feel this way, like, fuck
and
them.
It's somebody else's fault.
And that's like you can be aware of it, but then you can be unaware of it, and it can come out in all different shapes and forms, and that's because in some way you've experienced being a victim, right? Not it sounds so aggressive, the word doesn't, but that's what it is something's happened to you and it's created some sort of feeling that's kind of sat with you, and it's like, don't like that feeling, man. So that in an effort to avoid that, you do everything, and coaching can expose a lot of that.
100%.
Because it makes you look within a lot more and go, oh man, that's really uncomfortable.
There's an element of ego's probably there as well, like the whole like that, letting your guard down. And actually, I said this to you before, even the fact that I got a male coach was a big thing, because obviously I had experienced really horrible relationships with males, and I probably reaching out to you and actually getting you was like 2 fingers up, like, because when I was in that relationship, I wasn't able to look at a guy, like that was how bad it was. So like reaching out to you and actually having a guy was a bit of a 2 fingers up, like whatever. But actually now I said this to you quite recently, but now I would say getting a guy coach has been huge, because it's now allowed me to like trust a guy again. Like I could tell you anything, and I know that you're not going to be like you're just not going to be anything about it. Like you'll give your opinion, or you'll make me see things with different points of view. But like it's made me, and Josh as well, like it's just made me allow myself to be vulnerable to males, and it's okay, and you're not going to get kind of reprimanded of it, or you're not going to get like pulled apart or judged or
Imagine
whatever.
Getting pulled apart with Josh.
I know.
Softest, spokest man. It's like a teddy bear ripping you apart. I remember he said he gets angry. I went, mate.
When?
Yeah. You got stop that.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine.
Yeah.
Film that.
I know, but no, it's mad, and like that in itself is like so many keys to so much freedom in your life.
100%.
And do you know what I mean? So no, so
went
like,
off on a total tangent there.
No, that's the full point of it. Like I wrote things down, but I think I've asked them. Yeah, but yeah, like I think just to round things off, like and you've obviously seen the evolution already for anything. You've seen where it was PLU to like right now, over like you've experienced, you went through the journey. Like, who would you say it's for?
I actually don't think there's anybody that couldn't do it. Like, so like we talk about that whole potential or like reaching your potential. I don't think there's anybody that like, no, actually that can't work for you. It depends on your mindset and how you are open to receiving and how you're open to seeing this new level of yourself. So I don't think anybody could be boxing themselves into like, I couldn't do that, because like anybody could, like, literally anybody could, as long as you're open and willing and ready to be exposed, because there's a lot of like the elements of, like I said, so you need to like look inside. There's a lot more work than just surface level, like I want to have abs, like, and also like you can get abs and then you can not be happy. So like it's like the whole working on the whole thing. If you're ready to level up your life. So for me, it was definitely like a a level up, a step up. I got so far by myself, and I needed, like, I don't want to say needed, but like I wanted is probably the better word. Like, I wanted another layer of accountability and probably a bit of pressure, a bit of like rockets up your backside. And it's also not, when I came into PLU, I was like one of very small amount of females, whereas now there's a lot more females, so it's kind of much more mixed. And I think even from a female perspective, like, you know, that whole thing with girls going to the gym and they're afraid to go next to the weight section because all these burly guys like, whatever. Like, I pure get that. I get why people feel like that. I don't, but like once upon a time,
girls in RFA.
Oh, there is, So like, whereas now it's like, it's quite an even, I mean, I don't know if it's totally even, but it feels like it's an even keel.
Yeah, I feel like it is. I feel it's like
so,
a nice
like
split.
so you don't even feel like you're like this, like a little fish in a big pond sort of a thing. It's very much like it's a bit 50-50 with regards to the female male type thing. But as long as you are open to being the best version of yourself, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and be honest, I think that's a big thing. Is like, you probably find a lot of people can be a bit, they tell you what you want to hear, but actually you probably know that they're talking mince, like, because obviously the data that you have will tell you whether they're talking mince or not. So being honest with yourself, honest with your coaches, open to new levels, open to new layers, open to being told that you're doing something wrong, like, and allowing that ego to step aside, because sometimes I've found myself getting pure volatile with you, being like, what are you saying that for? Raging. But actually, like, you need to hear these things. Like, that's what the point of you being there is like, you actually are like, no, Donna, you're talking absolute mince. Like, I mean, you don't say that, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, because sometimes you can just be on your own. Like, you say that all the time, like, be on your own way. Like, because you're so thinking about the same thing or making an excuse or whatever. So sometimes, like, that's a big probably thing for me. Is like, I need that. I need somebody to be like, Donna, you're talking rubbish. So I wouldn't say it's limited to a box or a certain person or a certain like, obviously a lot of the people that are in the program are flying, like, and doing incredible things, like, but also, which is amazing and inspirational, can be triggering to people who are not ready and willing to, like, kind of be like, okay, I'm at this level, like, they've done the work for like 5 years and that's how they've got there. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I think it would be, you need to be aware that you're stepping into something to become that, to evolve into that species, if you like, and not just not be a settler. Like, if you're a settler, it's probably not for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, if you just want to get a result and go, it's definitely not, man. It's get to a point, cool, I'm happy here. Like, it's about continue going. It's not saying that we're not content or not. Like, I'm a big advocate of, like, taking points to chill, man, to not have as much on and stuff, but you need to always go back to the drawing board and look for the next thing if you want to keep growing, man, because there's no... That
whole diet, like, either you're growing or you're dying or something like that. Is that what's that quote? You know, we like, both love a quote. Yeah,
and it's true, man. It's like, and it sounds aggressive, but it's not really when you think about it, because if you're not trying to push to new levels, you need to learn that, right, there's different gears to that. I can be in 5th gear or I can be in 1st gear. 1st gear is like the minimal effective dosage, and you need to have times in there. But folk are in this point where don't need anything right now, and it's like, nah, man, that's your problem. Yeah, like, it's the beauties and the growth, man. The beauties in, like, that bit where you're actually, like, getting microdoses of discomfort, and it doesn't have to be pure intense, man, but like, you're evolving, you're doing things, you're doing what you said you were going to do. And that's where that kind of comes from. You need to make that commitment to being better. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, and I think people have that whole mentality. Not, I would say that, like, people, like, just the general population have the mentality of, you see it all the time in social media where people like 12-week or whatever, or the magic diet pill or the magic whatever. Like, people just want everything like yesterday and in this short amount of time. But the reality is, like, we talk about this all the time as well, like, it takes time, and it takes, like, just bettering yourself every single day, and that can be like a tiny thing, one tiny little thing, like for instance, even we talk about morning routines and nighttime routines. Like, I have a big morning routine. Like, it's not big, like, I don't see it as being big. I do a lot of things now, but they didn't all just come at once. I didn't just go, right, I'm transforming my morning and it's like all this different stuff. It's took years or months to build on that, to be like, right, okay, I've got that habit's in place, and that's me totally nailing that. Right, what's next? And it's just about adding in that wee 1% of, like, how can I make this a wee bit better, or even if it's nutrition, how can I shift this and make it a bit better? How can I or even if it's like planning, whatever, like, and I can't believe you, like, I'm planning, like, remember that's another thing I said to you, I am not a planner. Like, these, like, the identities you pure stick to yourself, like, it's crazy.
If
And
you've
now
got
I'm
a buff
like,
defect.
like, literally.
Aye.
But I'm like,
Part
no,
of my neocortex is doesn't plan.
yeah, don't do that. Like, whereas now I can totally recognise, like, when I plan, I am so productive. See, when I don't plan, don't get me wrong, there's sometimes that you need to have those days where you're like, right, okay, like tools down a wee bit. But when I don't plan, I can really recognise that I just procrastinate. I do little bits and pieces. Whereas before, you get something you would never have recognised because it was just what you done. It's just part and parcel of life. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas now it's like there's so many different things that, but it takes time. Like, you can't shift your identity in 2 weeks. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Especially if you've been, let's say you're like, I'm 38, so that's 38 years of like, I set, oh no, maybe not 38, let's go back a few years, but before I joined you, it was like 35, something like that. 35 years of like this identity. So like, it's going to take time to unlearn all that learning and then relearn all the stuff that makes you better and become the person that you're meant to be.
Yeah, 100%. It's just a process. But if you could just to kind of round things off, like if you could kind of go back and give Donna some advice in 2021 when she first came into PLU at the time and started, like what would you say to her?
Oh wow. I would say probably just go all in from the get go, because I feel like probably for a period of time I was a wee bit like dip my toe. Like, I'd done this, I ticked the boxes, I'd done the stuff, but to who I was there at the beginning to who I'm, like the way I'm operating now, and obviously that's from the growth perspective and learning all that sort of stuff. But I wouldn't have said I went all in from the get go.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Everyone needs to build the trust up.
100%. Yeah, definitely.
You don't trust yourself enough to do things, that you be selective with parts and go, right, I feel comfortable with that. This is out with my comfort zone, but I'll change that a bit. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But then you get to this point that you'll be experiencing now where you unlock that, then you're almost just like everything you do, you throw the kitchen sink at it because you've learned the value in that.
Yeah.
And then what you begin to do is then you take the parts, then you put your own sauce on it.
Yeah.
Whereas folk are trying to put their own sauce on it when they've like, it's like, have you seen you? Like, you're not there yet. Yeah. Like, you're not there right now, man. You need to like go in on your stripes, man. Like, go and just immerse yourself. Go and be vulnerable. Go in and that's a trust thing, man. That's like, folk are like, they know. And they know, like, because the thing I said, that one we get a lot now is like when we're pushing a lot more folk to train a lot more intense, it's we need to be feeling properly. Yeah. Folk are fucking scared of carbs. Yeah. And they just get in their head. And I'm like, you need them. And I'm like,
give me them all.
I know. And I'm like, what athlete do you know that doesn't eat carbohydrates? Like, what do you know any athletes to do that? And they know this, but then it's like,
but I'm different. Yeah, yeah.
I am different. I'm different. It's like, it's a trust. It's you need to do it. You need to dabble in it. It's like,
and it's the breaking the thought process of all these years of
conditioning. It takes time, man. And I used to be like, I thought a more immature version of me with like less experience would be like, hey, you need to do it. And it's like, you do need to do it, but like,
you need to learn how.
You need to like, and what I say now to folks, I'm like, well, you can either be right and stay the same, or you can be wrong and progress. Yeah. And I think that's a really good way to frame it, because 100%. It's like, I'm not saying like, I would just say, I just talk a lot more pragmatically to folk. I'll just be like, look, I've done this stuff and I know it. Like, you can do it this way, you can do it that way. It's down to you. This one will be faster. This one will be better. But I'm happy for you to do it that way if you want to do it that way. And you feel like you know that that's the better way to do it. You do it that way. And folk go, okay.
But that's what I was saying earlier on, though. You need that. Like, you need somebody to be like, sometimes you need that cut, like that kind of cutthroat where it's like, oh, actually stops you in your tracks rather than you in the midst of telling this wee daft story to yourself. So I would say probably go all in. And also I feel like I've always been quite honest with you guys. Like, I've always been open and honest with it, but also recognise that it takes time. Probably back in 2021 I'd have been like, oh, I probably did in my head was like 3 months, like your initial thing, wasn't it? I was like, I'll just do 3 months and that's me. Like, and here I am like 3 years later, like still here, OG with a flag.
You must have thought I said 3 years.
I know, but I like recognise that it takes time, because for so many people just think that it's just like there's this wee magic wand and you just wave it and everything's magically like changes. It just doesn't work like that. It just just takes time.
It's hard. Like, I was having this. I mean, my mate Chris, and Chris was my mentor with like business and like life and stuff for years, and I worked with him, and we were just talking about coaching and mentoring and stuff on Friday when we were having some food and a couple of drinks and stuff, and we are just basically saying like, there's just some folk that you meet and you see where they're at, and it's like they don't know the kind of work they need to kind of do in themselves, and it's so unglamorous to be like, you just kind of need to stay on the bus right now, man. That you just need to be around folk, and you need to debunk a lot of like shitty beliefs that you have that are like, and like that is easier said than done, because when you're in that period of frustration, it's like, well, what am I doing? Why am I here? And it's like, you need to kind of get by this point, because if you don't, you're going to keep getting stuck in that point, and that's the point you need to be immersed in. And that's no sexy, man.
I know.
When it comes to like marketing, we will help you sit in pain for a while. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you get above average here, but you struggle with being fat for a bit.
Yeah. like, I think that's the biggest thing. Though. It's the biggest thing.
It's hard, man. It's tough.
It's the biggest thing when you're in a position like when we're in this group and stuff like that, and your eyes have been opened. And I feel like the more I'm learning, and like I say, I do a lot of other stuff as well. But like, it's like your wee blinkers have just went boom, and like the headlight, everything's on. So like, I think that highlights so much more like people who you surround yourself with who maybe aren't on that path and aren't on that journey, and it is very difficult to be that person. Like, you know the answers, and you want to help and guide them and support them, but sometimes they're not ready to hear it, and it's quite hard to be, or maybe they're wanting to hear it, but they're actually like, they want to know all the knowledge, they want to like you to help them or guide them or whatever, but they're just not ready. Like, they're just not in that headspace where they can actually take it, or they can actually like immerse themselves into it. I think that's probably the only downside to being like almost like, it's almost like enlightened, isn't it? Like, if you're enlightened and you're in a like a higher vibration, and that's not to be patronizing at all, it's just the way in which happens when you're kind of in this personal development journey. But it's
we actually, sorry for interrupting, Donna. We actually coached a woman that was in Ailey's program that came over, and she had some health problems. It was really she's in a good spot now, but she went through like some challenges. She had to unfortunately stop the program, and it was like a big change for her coming from EBA to here. And she came to the event in January, and I was like, how did you find it? I was on a call with her, and she was like, unbelievable. She went, and she said something that had never been said. She went, it must be really hard for you when folk don't really understand what you're doing, but they're in your world. And I was like, like, and I was like, I've never like had someone like kind of
actually recognize
that. And I was like, yeah, it is, because it's like, this is what I mean about folk don't understand what being coached is, because it's their perception of like, what is it?
It's like, here's a nutrition plan. Here's a thing we plan. Like, it's not like that.
It's not like that. It's like, we're going to do these things. We're going to facilitate that. We're going to have pushes. We're going to have phases. We're going to do that. But like, you need to unlock new levels of you in there. Yeah. And it's like, it's so hard, because it's like, I'll say it's like the monkey brain sometimes, where you can see someone's cogs turning, and then they're like, but does not compute, like doesn't compute with algorithm and brain. Like this isn't what, and it's like, I'll just say to folk, like, imagine there's like, it's fitness, like we're facilitating this and we're helping you perform better, but imagine the words personal trainer don't even exist next to my name, and like, because it's those words, it's so mad how like those words just go, it's like a dog. Like, you ever like see your dog, like you ever had, like I have with Sky sometimes, where see when I do this noise to Sky, right, and I go to this song, she goes and she starts getting angry, right, but she's happy, and she starts going, it's like one thing. She's going like that, like, but this noise I associate with like being raging. So like, I'm raging, but I love it. Like, I love, like, and she's going like, and then she goes, like, she's like sitting there, and I'm like, that's what humans do. Yeah. That they're sitting going like, I can see that makes sense. That makes sense, but like, brain does not compute. Yeah. Like, brain does not like. Like, it's mad when you can actually see that happening with someone, and it's like. It's crazy, man. Like, I call it monkey brain. Yeah, 100%. So it's like, me and Ailey talk about this all the time. It's like, I'm like, man, the monkey brain's too strong now, man. Yeah, like, it's like 100%. They're not getting what I'm saying. Like, they kind of get it. They want to get it, but like, their beliefs are like clashing. Yeah, and that's why, like I think again, mindset like is something that you don't think you're getting, but like, it's been it's the biggest thing. Like, if you're not I talk about this all the time, but if you're not transforming like the bit in between your ears, then the rest isn't going to follow. Do you know what I mean? It's like, or maybe it will for a period of time, but then if you've not actually done that work and like really
like shaped, like looked at their identity and looked at your values and looked at your beliefs and looked at the reasons why you behave in a way and whatever, then all you're going to do is be back on that hamster wheel again and back on the hamster wheel again and back on the hamster wheel again, because you've not actually. I was speaking to somebody recently about like a nutrition plan and a workout plan, and I'm like, right, but so see, when you don't have that food plan, which is like whatever it is, then what?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when you don't have that anymore, and it's like, right, you do what you want, eat what you want, like you don't actually have you've not learned how to behave around normal food, because it's always it's the same thing. It's, do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm going to out a lot of people here, right? See, if someone says, I just need insert thing, you don't get it, man. It's like, see, if you just keep saying that it's, you just need this, or you just need nothing,
I'll be happy when,
and you just need this, and that's the reason as to why. It's not that, it's you. I mean, like, it's you. It's that. And that's about, I always talk about getting in your own way. It's like, I just need this, and if this didn't happen in here, and I get the logic behind it. Like, do you know what I mean? I understand that there is times where you're like, man, like, that's pretty unfortunate that thing happened to you at this point. But like, if it's a recurring theme that you always need these instances and these points, it's like, you're the recurring issue. Yeah. It's not those things. You're the recurring problem.
It's like your reaction or your response into actually something I never said when you asked me a question earlier on. When I first joined in here in PLU at the time, it was just off the back of my papa passing away and my cousin passed away. Remember we spoke about that? And actually, similar to what you were just saying about like things happening and whatever, like that could have sent me in. That was they actually passed away in the same day, and that could have sent me into that whole spiral of like, oh my God, whatever. But actually, it just gave me this like, I don't know, like it's almost like a light bulb moment actually to realise like how precious life is and how like it can literally be taken away from you. Like, so, I mean, my papa was in his 90s, but still like actually watching life kind of leave some days actually made me realise the absolute like importance of life and the fact that you actually should be grateful for every single day you have. And that was in July, and then I joined up with you in October, November, something like that. And it was so like that, these places of pain or these situations that come into your life or whatever, like you can make it, again, back to that choice thing, you can make a choice. Do you choose for it to make you crumble, or do you choose for you to step into a new level and like realise that actually there's a blessing in that pain, I feel like. Because without that pain, like you can turn that pain into growth.
It was something my friend said to me like when he lost his brother. I didn't know him at the time when he lost his brother, but he always says that that moment when I lost my brother is that I had the choice to be the guy that lost his brother, or I had the choice to live my life more. And it's like, whoa, that's
powerful.
I know, man. It's like, that's mad, and it's not saying that was plain sailing. It's a challenging time, but like I was like, whoa, like that's, I never looked at it that way, and it's like folk can hang on to like these points in their life, and that becomes part of who they are and what they do. You know, the mental health. Everyone knows the mental health person in their life. That folk will talk about them. They go, yeah, they're struggling with their mental health, and it's like, what? Like, and like I'm not saying folk go through points that struggle, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
The wee anxious person.
Yeah.
That's like,
it's like identity. There we go.
Like, I've got this wee hat on that says anxiety. Like, and that's like, but then they wear it. You know what I mean? And it's hard to come away from that. And it's like my anxiety. You know what I mean? Like,
I noticed that a lot in the care home that I worked in. It was all younger people, and it was just like it's just normal. Like you've talked about the whole normal thing. Like it was just normal. Everybody was. It was like they were just allowed to be, not allowed to be there. That's not fair. But like there was no actual thriving. It was like survival, like literally survival throughout every day. And these kids like had hellish upbringings, like, and like had ridiculous amount of trauma. Like it was awful, like some of the things they've been through. But rather than it being like right, how do we help these? How do we actually help these kids to overcome and like to like maybe like obviously you can't. Like it can't take it away, like you can't take away what's happened to them, because like and some of them are horrific, but like, well, actually how do we help these kids to maybe not accept or forgive, but like even forgive themselves? Like it was a big thing, like a lot of their things isn't necessarily about the perpetrators that done things to them. It's more about like them having like lack of self-love, or like lack of like understanding themselves, lack of like forgiveness with themselves, because they in their heads like it's their fault that things happen to them and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? And it was like this environment of just like that, like identity's been stuck on these kids, and I was like, I can't be in this environment where it's like almost like
facilitating it.
That's exactly what I was looking for. So I was like, so obviously now I'm doing the empowerment coaching in schools, which is like amazing, but because I was like, I can't be in this place. It's like just allowing these things to happen, and like these kids are like literally paddling with their head above water. Like they could be doing so much more with their lives, and they're just never going to have the opportunity to be able to do that because it's just not an option. It's almost like they're just like, oh, and some of these kids were like 13. It was like, oh well, like they're that's their life. What?
It's mad, isn't it?
It's crazy.
I think about that when I'm even planning our weekly calls. I'm like, what am I facilitating at the moment? Like, what am I, like, is it been a bit like on the sort of dark side of like what you're struggling with too much? And I'm like, why am I fucking talking about struggles too much? Like, right, need to be a wee splash of empowerment in there, need a wee splash of like, where's your superpowers, because it's like, you can end up creating this like
100% this negative,
man. And I see it a lot in coaching now, man, where it's like, ask folk, like, what do you do? I help folk and I do this, and there's all these words from about, and I'm like, man, if you lifted up the hood underneath their coaching business, you'd be like, you've just facilitated a fuck ton of Karens, man, in a room that are just enabling each other. Like it's like you need to be so careful, man, with the stuff like this, like, because you said it earlier, your environment dictates everything. I say to folk that we coach that are like managing teams, managing clients, I'm like, you need to be careful that you don't act like them.
Yeah.
Like, depending on who you're working with, because if you're working in a call centre, let's say, for example, and you're working with a load of folk that are fresh out of school and stuff, and you're managing them, it's not an easy thing to manage. Do you know what I mean? Or that you're dealing with a load of folk that are entry level weight loss clients or whatever, that have got a lot of beliefs that have kept them there. You can, if you don't protect that, you can take that mindset, and it's mad. Like it's mad. Like
equally though, you can also like your energy will.
That's
energy
that's the goal.
It can be a good thing.
No, that's what my goal is. But like, what I'm saying is that folk don't realise that sometimes they need to go on and they're like facilitating things that they're enabling it.
Yeah.
Rather than like, as you said with that place, like it's so easy where you're like, am I enabling or am I changing? Yeah. Like, am I impacting?
Like, what was it in that?
What kind of impact am I having here? Am I just making folk melters?
It's literally is like.
Yeah. It's mad.
And even like I would say even in the dance school and stuff like that, like I've brought in a lot of the personal development stuff that I've learned with the team and with the kids and all that. So like our studio is like covered in like quotes and like, do you know what I mean, stuff like that, just because like and even my house is covered in like affirmations, like literally, like you would be like, oh my god, you would not be surprised.
My words written on the wall.
But like my whole staircase, you walk up my staircase and it's all quotes and affirmations, and in the bathroom I've got like little affirmations, because I know my kids are brushing their teeth.
Mum, give it a break.
I know, no, she loves it. She loves it.
Mum.
Dylan's probably like, oh, but like I know they're brushing their teeth. What you do when you're brushing teeth? You're like looking about, aren't you? So if they're looking about, they're going to read these affirmations, and it's like just little things that subconsciously are going into people's brains that they don't even know are going in there, but it's like just subconsciously reaffirming like positivity or like you actually can achieve blah 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 blah. Do you know what I mean? There's all different affirmations, but there's so much power in it because people don't recognise it. It's going in there and they don't even know it is.
That's because they're getting shaped by BBC News. Yeah. What's happening in Gaza
exactly
today?
Like
I know, man.
I don't even have like can't remember last time I had to tell them, but my mum and dad, oh my god, you walk out of their house and the one telly's on, another telly's on.
Shareholders in BBC.
Literally, they're both in the same. They're both watching the news, but the tellies are off sync, so it's like too echoed. And I'm like, okay, what? Like, get me out of here! Like, it's crazy. It's just crazy. But like you can like that. Have you ever heard that? It's like a speaker. Oh God, what's his name? Oh, it's going to annoy me anyway. But he's talking about like when you wake up in the morning, you can form negative or you can form positive.
Yeah.
Like you can be like your wee kind of workers in your brain. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's the way my brain works. But like, you can be like, right, we're getting up today. We're going to do this, or you can get up to being like, oh my god, like what are we going to do today? Like you can be you, and you choose every day. You get to choose.
No, I'll do. I'll go on TikTok.
And scroll for 2 hours.
Yeah, at my bed, man. I was going to get up early today, but just watch a bit of TikTok, man. That'll get me up, man. Laughing.
And then how do you feel 2 hours later?
Yeah.
Like,
happy, man. Laughing. That was some great videos I watched.
You don't even realise 2 hours just went past and you're like, what the hell? You've lost all that time.
On a fucking mad journey of watching folk making Yorkshire pudding tackles or something.
It's crazy.
It's mad, isn't it?
That's the life we live in, and it's a shame because like I say this all the time. Like,
It's Chinese. It's
It's
just,
just-
this is just an episode of the conspiracy podcast.
I know. But like, would you want to grow up in the world today? Probably not. Like,
No.
do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Like all these different things that
I
are
think
pulling
if you
your
watch
attention.
enough Diary of a CEO intros, man, you would just go like that, right? I'm out here, man.
Aye.
If you watch the intro,
Yeah.
the hooks, man, the hooks. Like I watched one recently on nuclear war, and I was just like,
What chance have I got?
what's the point of me even doing this podcast today? I just jack everything in, and I'm going to Australia. That's what everyone
Aye.
seems to do, man. How am I going to do that?
Or Dubai.
Yeah. No. Anyway, it's been incredible to have you on,
It's
Donna.
been fun.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, it was good.
Good. Was it? Did it live up to everything it was going to be?
Do you know what? I said this before we started, didn't I? Like, I do my podcast in my living room with my dressing gown on. So this is lovely.
Should have done that today.
I know I should have brought my dressing gown on, shouldn't I? But it's lovely. It's been a really nice. It's been good to catch up as well and just talk nonsense for a
It's been
while.
good. And guys, for anyone that obviously watched as well, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you took a lot away from it. What I'll do is I'll tag Donna's account. She's got the empowerment coach. Does a lot of work with obviously our dance school, but then also in schools and stuff as well. If you can really relate to this, and you know what, if you're like a female that's watching this or a teacher and you think that would be beneficial to potentially collaborate with Donna to get Donna to come into your school and talk or whatever, I'll tag Donna's details below so they're in there as well. But apart from that, guys, I hope you really enjoyed the episode. I hope you took a lot away from it. I love doing these. It's always great to have a chat with our clients and talk about their journey and what they're doing. And I'm a strong believer as well. Folk always say you shouldn't be friends with your clients. I'm like, nah, man. Like, they're your clients, and then your clients and your friends. You know what I mean, you build up that friendship there. So it's great to have folk on to share the knowledge, what they've gained, what they've done, how it's impacted their life. And I hope you took a lot away from it. Anyway, guys, see you later. Catch you back. Goodbye.